Good evening and welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex Lord. Spencer Schwellenbach towed the rubber for the fifth time in his major league career, and we both thought it was going to be a really good outing. And I kind of want to know what you thought of it, because a lot of people always get in. You have one bad outing and they're like, "Oh, dude, why do we trot these AAA pitchers out to the mound?" And I'm like, "Well, his last two were really, really good, and that first one was pretty good outside of one home run. He really only had one bad outing." And maybe you could say like the score line, five innings, 4 runs. But when you dig into it, Orlando Arcia makes a play right there. It's only a 1-run inning. They have a little blue pit. They hit him a little hard that inning, but the other 4 innings, he was damn near perfect. I mean, he was spectacular. And the way that he rebounded, I was really impressed. You have a 35 pitch inning where you give up 4 runs. And also there was a strikeout there on the last play. It should have only been 3 runs, which turns out to be the difference in the game. Then you rebound and you have a quick 4th and a quick 5th, and you look at the final stat line. You're talking about a fifth pitcher in the rotation, like 5 innings, 4 runs, not terrible. I mean, I'm just like, he did a lot of good things. There was a lot of really, really good mixed in with one really bad. He's got to figure out how to limit, that to a 1 or 2 run inning. But, if he doesn't get a bloop single, or Orlando Arcia makes a play that he's very capable of making, or he gets a strikeout, you're at least limiting the damage not to 4 runs.
I mean, what can I say? You really just said everything. You didn't leave anything for me to say. I think that was basically it. I mean, he got a couple. There was a bloop that scored a run. There was a couple of hard hit singles. Orlando Arcia makes that play 9 times out of 10, which is also like Orlando Arcia. You're an offensive zero right now. You got to make plays that you shouldn't be making defensively. Like the plays that you should make, we're not even talking about those. We're talking about you're nothing on offense. You got to make the plays that you're not supposed to make defensively. And that's a play he'll tell you he's got to have that. So, if you take that and the bloop, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, Schwelly's got to be sent down or I'm dissatisfied with it, because perspective is everything. This guy is the 5th/6th starter in this rotation. And if he's going to give you that, I think it's more than enough. He's absolutely deserving of another start or 2. Like if he starts turning in a couple more of these, blow up inning types, I think maybe you have a conversation. But again, there's nobody in AAA other than maybe Bryce Elder, who did just kind of get hit up a little bit. Nobody's banging on the door to kind of be like, forcing the Braves' hand with Schwelly. So I think Schwellenbach should be happy with what, at least he's settled down, like you mentioned. And I think the overarching theme is 5th starter. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, and the stuff, it always looks really good. I mean, that cutter is really developed this year. Yeah, I just I left that. I'm not too pissed off about it. Like at the end of the day, like the Braves got to figure out how to win some of these games. And this was a tough one, and it was tough for a number of reasons.
They had chances.
They had chances at the end of the game. They did a good job. They put together some good at bats, which is something that we weren't seeing, a few weeks ago. They actually had some good at bats and gave themselves a chance to win. Unfortunately, they come up short. These dead balls. Ozzy Albies hits one that I think is gone in every other year except for this season. It's not gone this season. Marcell Ozuna hit one that he just got under a little, but I guarantee you that ball's out last year. So, and then you have the strikeout where he struck the guy out and they end up scoring on that little league play where they throw him down. And the only reason the ump didn't call it a strikeout, because it was right down the middle, is because Sean Murphy's up in his stance and already throwing down to second base, which makes it kind of a tougher call for umpires who, let's be honest, really can't see where the ball's going until after it's in the catcher's mitt, which is why they get fooled by framing. But that's another story for another day. So it's a tough loss for all those reasons, because they did have their chances to win at the end. It did feel like a couple of those balls could have gotten out of there. And it felt like they got robbed of a run by a pitch that should have been a strikeout.
Yeah, and I mean, Austin Riley was up with 2 men, no one out, and he was having that type of game where I was fully convinced Austin Riley was going to, at least score 1 there, and he ends up striking out after having a hard hit double and a home run, or maybe it was just a hard hit single. But all in all, I think you're kind of satisfied with the showing. I know we lost the game, and that's never fun. But in terms of the showing, Matt Olson got a hit late after looking somewhat pedestrian for most of his at-bats. Marcell Ozuna is still doing his thing. Ozzy Albies is getting the hold of a ball. And Austin Riley, the numbers don't, past couple weeks, the numbers show it. Overarching on the season, numbers don't show it, but I'm fully ready to declare Austin Riley is back. There will be a 6-week stretch here, starting last week, 10 days or so, where he's going to slug for 600. Like every single summer, Austin Riley just turns into Barry Bonds or something. I mean, I don't know really what it is. I wish he would start off a little bit hotter, but I think the Braves are going to be just fine. All in all, I'm happy with the showing, even though we lost.
Yeah, I think that's the last thing for Austin Riley, because we always are saying, he's been in the top 10 of the MVP race the last 3 years, and he went on a tear to end this season and ended up hitting close to 300 with a 900 OPS for the 4th consecutive season and finished top 10 in the MVP race. Nobody would be surprised, but we are still waiting, especially when you make him the highest paid player in franchise history, for him to become this player. Not necessarily a guy that's going to hit 400 and hit 20 home runs every single month, but just the consistency. He does have these long extended stretches where he hits very poorly, and kind of ironing that part out of his game and having a little more consistency. I think that's the last little level for Austin Riley to reach, and hopefully he does reach it. Maybe he never reaches it. It has been 4 seasons we've kind of seen this kind of thing, but I do agree with you. It does seem like summer months come. When the summer months come, Austin Riley heats up. It seems like that's the case again, and it's just one of those unfortunate. I'm really not going to get. I'm not going to get on Spencer Schwellenbach. You can go to another show to find that, and you can go to another show.
I can get on to something if you want some negativity here. Seeing Zach Short being the last guy and not at bat is really disappointing. And I know what he is. He is what he is. He's a bench piece, and we are where we are.
Probably better than Orlando Arcia, though.
Yeah, that's fair. Honestly, that is fair. He got a walk in his first at bat when he replaced Orlando Arcia, so at least he has that. But that is the worst part, where I was like, damn. This is our last guy that we have.
Well, dude, the worst part, I looked at the lineup card yesterday and I saw Forrest Wall, Ramon Laureano, and Orlando
Ramon
Arcia.
Laureano seems seemingly.
But those are the guys, when you see those guys hitting 7, 8, 9, you're just like, dang, you basically have a 6-man lineup. And listen, don't get me wrong, Forrest Wall and Laureano have had their moments where they've looked pretty good, and hopefully they don't have to play a big role for much longer.
They got on base in that 8th inning, and pretty much gave Ozzie Albies. I mean, that Ozzie Albies warning track flyout was. I jumped up off my seat. I bet everybody in that stadium, Cardinals fans, I'm talking, were like, "Damn, that's gone." I think they were even surprised.
It was. I mean,
it's frustrating. It's so frustrating.
The dead balls are certainly frustrating, and it's hilarious that people are writing articles talking about how pitching has gotten so much better. Dude, pitching didn't get so much better overnight, guys. That
with all the best pitchers out too.
That didn't just happen. That's one of the most absurd things. Yeah. And talk about pitcher injuries.
The fastest pitchers in baseball last year, 9 of the top 10 in terms of average velocity, are all on the shelf right now.
I mean, pitcher injuries have been are as up as they've ever been, and yet offense is as down as it's ever been. And we're all sitting here like, oh, why is it? Oh, it's because pitchers have gotten so much better overnight. No, it's because the baseballs are dead. And we've seen it time and time again. And Adam Duvall even talked about it when he's talking about his struggles. I mean, I mentioned it. How many balls has Adam Duvall hit to the warning track where it was like, dang,
he is the largest differential in expected slugging and actual slugging.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks, but it's just something that you're gonna have to deal with, and it sucks for a team like the Braves, who literally
we live and die on the long ball.
We built a team that hits home runs. That is what we do. We're not gonna sit here and string together 10 hit innings. I mean, you will occasionally, but it's always been hitting bombs. And unfortunately, maybe they looked at what the Braves did last year, like, no, we can't have any more of that. I mean, it does seem like it's directly looked at us, because we're the team that set all the offensive records last year.
Little man Manfred's got it out for the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, it must have been something about the John Coppolella system. But we're going to talk about the Hawks coming up after the break. Tons of rumors to get into, trade and NBA draft.